Hello, and welcome to It's an Artful Life. I'm your host, Jillian Rhodes. This project started with a question: do the arts matter anymore? I decided to start asking people that very question and came up with this project, an experiment on how and if people see and experience the arts in their daily lives. Is it an artful life? Let's find out. Life is ugly. Everything can be beautiful. There are beautiful things everywhere. There are ugly things everywhere. Ugly things are sometimes beautiful. All of these statements could be true, but they have opposite meanings. But in the context of art and artistic expression, they can all be true and not contradictory. That's the great gift of art. It does not make beauty or ugliness, but finds a space where both can meet. We touch on this and more in today's interview with a young German actor who left his job as an engineer to pursue acting. Enjoy! The first thing I have to ask is, can you just briefly introduce yourself?
My name is Marcel, and I'm originally an engineer. I studied engineering after I finished high school, and over some detours, I ended up working as an actor now, and that's the story.
Wow, okay. Where are you based currently?
I'm based in London.
Interesting. And you're working as an actor now.
Mm-hmm.
So, considering that, do you consider yourself an artistic person?
See, I don't know if I would give myself the label of an artistic person, because I don't really know what that means. I find even calling your own work art sounds a bit arrogant to me. So I don't do that, at least at this point. I do my things, and some of these are theater performances or movies that I'm writing on, or places where I'm performing. But I'm not at this point calling it art, because I think it has a weird, arrogant connotation, for me at least, or from how I grew up, or at least how I experienced the word when I was younger.
I see. So, but how did you come to the arts? Like, what made you decide to start acting, for an example, like to leave your job as an engineer? Like, how did that happen? What kind of pushes you to the arts?
Well, it's just two steps in a sense. The first thing was, after graduating from engineering school and having worked with Siemens for 3 years, which is a major electro-technical engineering company, I realized, okay, maybe I want to do something myself and decide myself on the focus what I want to be working on, which then brought me first to entrepreneurship. But it's not only about what you want to do, but how you want to approach that problem, what your position is, what your role is. And after exploring that for a while, I realized what I want to do in that setting is tell the story of either the world that we live in, as bleak as it may be, or the world that we might live in, and how achievable that maybe is. And telling that story, I think my medium would be the one as an actor in telling that story.
And the second thing?
Oh, that is the second. The first thing was just finding out that I want to do something specific that I decide, and the second thing is how I want to do it.
Oh, I see. Okay. And now that you're kind of working in the arts, so to speak, I guess you said kind of growing up you found that calling it arts is a little arrogant. Do you still like have trouble thinking of what you do as arts, or like how do you think of being an actor, just kind of as a profession, or how do you frame that?
Yeah, I mean, for me it's like, I don't know, everything I did before. In the end, it's about people, huh? So If you design a washing machine or a well as an engineer, that's also not about the well. That's about the people who are going to use it later and how it's going to impact their lives. And so the same way I see acting, it's a profession that I want to be good at, to have a high impact with the people who are then in the end my customers, or that's just the people watching, who are the audience, who I want to move, who I want to have an impact on, and to maximize the strength in that. Of course, I need to see it as a profession also, which I try to improve in. Surely.
An interesting way of viewing it. So do you have a particularly memorable experience with the art?
Well, there's something in it that I think for me stands out from every other work I did before, which is at some point I just took an acting class because I was curious, because I don't know, it looked cool, or I was just interested for some reason. Something inside me said, let's take a look. What's that all about? And I feel like there's nothing that, for me at least, compares to the feeling of being on a stage and portraying a character or an emotion or a situation truthfully and with that naked vulnerability, and to stand in the center of the fire, so to say, and without flinching, to stand on stage and do this work and be in that. That is I think, very special feeling, or very special moment that you're able to create, which showed me, in experiencing it, the value of it. And that's when I learned to appreciate the work and see the impact, and I could feel the results so intensely. And that I think was for me the moment where I don't know, drank the Kool-Aid and said, okay, this is very interesting work, and I don't want this to leave my life again.
Okay. Do you think that you experience the art on a daily basis?
Well, I'm rehearsing every day. I'm working on different things every day. I'm of course consuming it in some kind of ways, as I see a theater piece or a movie or a series or something. Quite often I would be just consuming it. And I think that's it.
So it's like a daily part of your life in some way, shape, or form.
Oh yeah, surely, yeah. Monday through Sunday.
Cool. So do you think if the world didn't have art, what do you think is the biggest thing that people would lack?
Well, I think we would get it would be much easier to get stuck in patterns and in abusive relationships which don't have to be romantic. It can be between a politician and the citizens or something. Because I think art has this task and ability, hopefully, to point out the things that we maybe have grown too accustomed to, and question those and show a different angle of looking at it, or allow people to look at it who before, I don't know, are just also afraid to see it because it's too painful. Sometimes reality is crushing, and it's too much to look at it with the naked eye. But I think art opens a channel under which we can at least approach it and slowly open our eyes for what we at some point need to witness to, well, then grow and develop together.
If there was all the art is still around, but people couldn't experience it. You hear a piece of music and don't feel anything, or watch a performance and aren't able to understand. I mean, in some ways, that's kind of what happens in the world, right? People are surrounded by art, but they don't really experience it as such. First of all, do you think that that's the case, that art is all around us and we don't experience it as such? And is it, even if we don't experience it necessarily, or hear it or see it, is it important to have?
Well, I think the question is if art is all around. Well, I think there are pretty things all around, and some of them are art and some are maybe not. In a sense that I think art always comes from an intention to show something, not teach, because that would include, forcing an opinion on you, but just, show something and you can make up your mind yourself about that. And I think a lot of things handle topics that are part of our daily lives anyway, so we're just repeating stuff that we already know. Like, there's the 800th love story, which is about daring to say what you feel. This is a story we've heard a lot, and we keep on hearing it, which is fine. It's important, and that's okay. And I think there are other elements, though, which are also around, which maybe sometimes come more of a surprise. And just because of the quantity of channels and providers and availability right now, maybe there's a disproportionate amount of art or just productions that tackle the everyday problems and that tackle the known situations and that tackle like kind of the basic things like another love story, and there are a few less that tackle something that is maybe extraordinary or can have a larger impact because it is new and different. It's just become a bit more tricky to find those maybe. But I'm still quite sure that those, as soon as you have one in front of you, you know. Because it will make you feel something. You would sit in a performance and go, this is different. This is something special. If it's your taste. Let's put it this way. And I think they stick.
It's interesting. So it's like there's all this noise, but, there's a few things that kind of pierce through the noise. What do you think it means to live an artful life?
To live an artful life? It's very hard to put in words, but I like the question. To live an artful life, well, it's more colorful. It's just I don't know, I have a picture in my head. It's to live an artful life is not to get up at morning and go to work and get back home and go to sleep. It's seeing what's around you and witnessing it and being happy or sad about it and allowing your emotions to react to that as much as it hurts or makes you happy, and maybe even do something about it. I don't know. I think an artful life to me means being like an active participant on the emotional journey that we are on, of seeing, discussing, processing what we're doing together as a species, and developing that together. I think it's a way for our organism to process it, and an artful life would mean, participating.
Being an active participant in your own life, huh?
Yeah, also in society's conversation about itself.
Cool, interesting. That's all of the questions. Do you have anything you'd like to add or comment on?
Well, thank you very much for making this production.
Thank you for being part of it.
Yes, of course.
It's an Artful Life will return next week with another interview. Thanks for listening.